Hello, guys and gals, and welcome! So, today we've got another Diablo 2 Resurrected news update. I don't know what number we're up to now. I feel like we're way up there. Like it's 8 or 9. It must be on the ninth news update by now, right? And it's very interesting because we've got a lot of interesting information to go over because they released a Diablo 2 Resurrected patch version 2.3 highlights, and apparently they have a bunch of new things coming. Some of them are old things that are being brought back that never should have been taken away in the first place, but we're going to go over them together and let's have some fun. Reading, reading Rainbow. Oh, reading Rainbow, and I can't. I got the tune right. Sometimes I just can't get the tune right. So right off the bat, here you see at the top Diablo 2 Resurrected patch 2.3 highlights, and we're gonna go down. How we've got for the past 2 months, brave adventurers have clashed with fearsome foes from the realms of Sanctuary to the Burning Hills, slaying and looting their way to victory. In this time, we've seen significant improvement in decreasing queue times, as players now on average wait less than 60 seconds to enter Sanctuary and get in-game. As our team continues to work and make further optimization to our game servers, we've also been listening closely to our community and absorbing feedback from our players. We'd like to take this opportunity to highlight a couple new features our team has been working on to level up the player experience in Diablo 2 Resurrected. These features will officially be introduced in early December when patch 2.3 goes live. This update will also be accompanied by many bug fixes and other improvements, which will be detailed upon the release of the patch. So to keep an eye out for that. Game content discussed in this blog is not final and subject to change. That's an interesting way of saying we're not guaranteeing everything. When we set out to resurrect this beloved classic, we made great efforts to modernize the art and visuals of the original Diablo 2 experience, while also making the gameplay more accessible. We hope these changes will resonate with you as we continue to pursue those core development goals. Offline difficulty scaling /players8. This feature from the original PC game is now coming to console platforms for solo offline players who want to scale the game difficulty, as well as the rewards. Up to 8 players, your wish is being granted. To use this feature, players simply need to open their settings menu, go to the game settings tab, then offline, and adjust the offline difficulty scaling slider. Once that setting has been configured, new monsters will spawn with varying HP and reward players with vastly increased experience gains and loot drop rates when defeated. Very cool. So here's a picture of that. That is a feature that should have been in the game at launch. Let's just say that right off the bat, shall we? Before we go any further, that should have been in the game at launch. That shouldn't have been something they had to add later. I don't know what was going through their minds when they were like, "Oh, let's release the game for consoles and not include one of the key single-player features that ever existed." In the offline single-player experience, the default player setting is 1, so you will be able to scale the difficulty anywhere between a range of 1 to 8. For example, if you wanted to scale the difficulty of monsters in your offline session to the equivalent of having 4 players present, you would adjust the slider to 4. As in Diablo 2 Classic, you'll have to start a new game session to set your preferred difficulty with the slider. You can't do it mid-game? You could do it mid-game in Diablo 2, because they gotta make a new game. That seems a little odd. Keyboard and mouse quick cast and active skill binding options. Currently, players use spells and abilities with a keyboard and mouse by clicking the right and left buttons. This means that the players only have access to 2 abilities at any given time. It's actually 1. So I don't know if you guys know this, but the majority of the spells and abilities in the game are only capable of being used on right click. There are very few left click abilities. So for the most part, PC is limited to 1 button. We literally only have 1 button we can use. If you happen to have one of those few abilities which are usable on the left click, you got 2. But for the most part, we only have 1. So this means that players only have access to 2 abilities at any given time. The most advanced players use the function keys to remap the right and left mouse buttons if they want to swap their abilities on the fly. This means that if you want to use an ability that isn't currently mapped to one of your mouse buttons, you'll need to hit the function key that you have mapped to a different skill and then click the mouse button to use it. You can also use the scroll wheel. When we brought controller support to Diablo 2 Resurrected, players gained immediate access with up to 12 buttons. Exactly. And that is one of the reasons why controller is so interesting as an option, because of the fact that it has 12 freaking buttons. Okay? There are certain classes that have so many skills to use, like a martial arts assassin or a necromancer, that having 12 buttons is absolutely amazing. I wish I could have the benefits of the keyboard and mouse with the 12 buttons. When a player presses any of the face buttons or triggers that have mapped to an ability, they instantly use them. Diablo 3 uses the same method, and it has become the expectation for most controller interfaces in the action role-playing games. We've seen an outpouring of community feedback requesting this feature for keyboard and mouse play too, and we originally avoided this approach because we feared it would stray too far from the original experience, but the community is eager for it, so we're eager to deliver. Players can now opt to use the Active Skill Bindings bar. This will show additional bar above the standard HUD at the bottom of the screen. Players can map up to 16 skills, although the tool tip suggests F1 through F8 to that additional bar. Furthermore, if the quick cast skills option is active, pressing these buttons will instantly use the abilities rather than just remap the right or left mouse buttons. Ultimately, we leave these new feature customizations to the player's preference. Players will be empowered to enable the quick cast skills option to action bound skills to their current mouse's location, as well as enable display active skill bindings to display the currently bound skills bar on their screen HUD. At the player's discretion, now they can tailor their experience to the way they play. This is absolutely amazing. I freaking love this. I've always talked about this. I've talked about this many different times throughout the years. I've talked about the fact that there are so many skills that are not capable of being bound to the left click button. And because of this, you are literally limited to one button, and it is so frustrating for certain characters. And I want to point this out that this is not, I don't think, how it was intended to be. They wanted you to be able to swap back and forth between two skills, and I think for some characters, specifically necromancers, as a very good example, there are literally almost no abilities on the click, the left click, if you happen to be a specific kind of necromancer. It really depends on the kind of character you are, but there are so many builds out there that involve skills that cannot be used on the left click, and having some quick cast slots is a very, very welcome improvement to me. As a person who plays a lot of these builds that do not have skills that work on the left click, my Summon Necromancer being one of them, my Firewall Sorceress being one of them, I really would like to have some other options for button presses besides just the right click. Having only one button is absolutely awful. So a very welcome feature change. In my opinion, I think a lot of people are going to get good use out of this. I don't really see a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is a bad thing. We can't have this. This is going to change the core of the game." I don't really see it. You've already changed the core of the game with the controller. The controller already had 12 mappable buttons, and I feel like the controller already represented that change. And so all this is doing is giving the PC players with the keyboard and mouse who prefer the mouse's pinpoint accuracy as opposed to the controller's non-pinpoint accuracy to be able to, like on Amazon, you can place your shots. It's a very interesting thing with Amazon's was placing your shots. And I have an Amazon right now who uses multiple skills, and she could also benefit from this. Now, granted, there are certain characters in this game that have absolutely no benefit from this whatsoever. You only use two abilities. Like, for instance, my Paladin. My Paladin only uses Vengeance and an Aura. And that's pretty much it. That's all he uses. He casts Holy Shield every now and then, which is a quick, button press, done. So he doesn't really benefit from this, but there are going to be a lot of characters that do, those characters that use multiple skills, like, for instance, a Teleport Sorceress that is also using Static Field, that is also using Nova, that is also using, Fireball, that is also using Firewall, whatever it is that she's got going on. Sorceresses usually have a lot going on, whether it be Frozen Armor or Energy Shield or multiple AoE skills or multiple single target skills or, Teleport, all of the above, all these little individual little bonuses. Martial arts assassins in particular, you get all these different charge ups if you want to build a martial arts assassin. Even barbarian with the 3 different battle orders, and whatever else he's got running at that particular time. If maybe he's got howl for those emergency situations, maybe he's got war cry for the stun, whatever it is, he's got a bunch of buttons he likes to press too, and love it. I love it, absolutely love it. Moving on. So we got accessibility and graphical improvements. UI visual improvements. Handful of visual tweaks have been made to improve the front end user interface. An indicator be added to exemplify which players are muted or ignored. It's kind of cool, I guess. Useless, but cool. Additionally, the character's level and expansion type will now be revealed to the lobby screen. We've also made improvements to changing the target channel when sending a chat message, so it's clearer and more straightforward. Lastly, players will now be able to see real ID names on Battle.net, real ID friends on their friends list. Real ID names. Are they talking about the like my Ginger Gaming mentor with like the number at the end? So they know exactly who is sending the message. That's interesting. That's actually kind of important, being able to see that, because then you can actually know who you're talking to. Because like, for instance, when somebody has a character name, like say they have got character name Bob, and they've got character name Steve, and they've got character name X_Blaze420 X_, whatever it is that they've got going on. When they join the game with Steve, you know them as Steve, and then they join the game as Blaze420, and you're like, who are you? And they're like, oh, I'm Steve, and you're like, oh, okay. The ability to see the real Battle.net name gives you a unifying feature, so that you know exactly who somebody is without having to guess. So, for instance, if Onyx plays with us all the time, so if Onyx joins the game with a character named GGM_buttface, and it's going to say Onyx GGM_buttface, so it's going to tell me that it's him when he joins the game, and then I'm going to know, hey, oh, it's Onyx. Very, very important there. I was actually wondering why that was left out as well. So here we got 2 features that were left out that should have been here in the first place. Gameplay improvements. On the gameplay front, we added the miss text indicator to player versus player combat, so players who enable miss text in their options will be able to see whether their character's attack missed their opponents in PvE and PvP. Throw can once again be bound to a key even if the player has nothing to throw. This was important because people were using it to prevent their character from running in there and attacking stuff. It was something that I did in Diablo 2, and I was wondering why it was not possible in Diablo 2 Resurrected. Instead, I was putting bone teeth on my necromancer to prevent him running there. You gotta imagine, if you have a character who's a soft and a squishy character who's sitting in the back, he's got rather paper thin armor on, and you accidentally click on a monster, and your necromancer runs in there and conks him on the head with a wand, you're going to be in trouble, especially if it's a big group of monsters. And so to prevent this, people would specifically put the throw command in place of the attack command, because they didn't have anything to throw, and then if they accidentally clicked on a monster with the throw command, they would not accidentally go in there and bonk a monster on the head with their wand. And this goes right back to what I was talking about earlier with only having one mappable button for PC. See, most characters do not use the left click on PC, and I don't know why they set it up this way, but that's just how it is. So the characters that don't use the left click on PC because they don't have an applicable skill for that button were using the throw command to prevent their character from running in there, because there were very few options for the left click to prevent your character from running in there and doing stupid things. And so we would use the throw command. I'm glad that that's back. My character is going to have the throw command on his left click to prevent him from running in there and clicking, which is how I had it originally. Additionally, a new bind called Force Move has been added. When used, the player's character will automatically navigate to the current mouse location. Force Move perhaps could be better than throw. Maybe they were thinking about that. I like it. Audio improvements. Players using a controller on PC or console will now hear audio cues when navigating through potential sections on the options menu. Beyond that, players will also be able to hear audio cues when auto-filling potions to their character's belt. Graphical improvements for players on PC with NVIDIA graphics cards compatible with NVIDIA DLSS Deep Learning Super Sampling technology. Those players will be able to enable DLSS in the graphics setting menu to increase graphics quality and resolution while maintaining higher GPU performance. The PTR and future updates. In coming weeks, Diablo 2 Resurrected will be launching its first ever public test realm, a special realm where we can test balance, bug fixes, and other enhancements we make to the game. We invite all of you to participate as you'll have an opportunity to play a crucial role in testing features and evolving the experience for all players. When we get closer, we'll share more details on how you can gain access to the public test realm and trial these changes. The primary focus of the public test realm will be revolved around fixing database issues and stabilizing our online environment. Once we are confident these fixes are in good place, we'll share more details on ladder rank play and even more new changes coming to Diablo 2 Resurrected. Our community continues to be instrumental in making this game better, and for that we want to say thank you. As we continue to update and improve the game, please keep sharing your feedback with us. Your collaboration is key to building an incredible Diablo 2 Resurrected experience we will all treasure for years to come. If you want to learn more about the Diablo 2 Resurrected, check our website here, or for real-time updates, follow our Twitter. Very, very interesting public test realm. That's the kind of thing that really makes a difference in a game, and really can accurately guide the development of a game in the correct direction. So very, very awesome. So just a brief overview here. We have players 8 being added to single player. Very, very awesome. Console players essentially were missing this, and this is essentially just an addition for the console players who had not had this to begin with. So very, very nice. We also have quick bind and quick cast and active skill bindings are coming to PC, which I believe is a very welcome change, and I think a lot of people are going to really, 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 really like this. For those players that only have 1 or 2 abilities anyway to their name, it's not going to matter for you. But for those of us who have like 5 or 6 or 7 different abilities that we use at any given time, like a Summon Necromancer, oh God, I'm salivating at the mouth over this. Like, you guys don't even know. I use Amplify Damage. I use Summon Skeleton. I use Revive. I use Clay Golem. I use Corpse Explosion. That's already 5. I sometimes use Raise Skeletal Mage. I sometimes use the blah 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 different curses like Decrepify, Lower Resist, Confuse, Blind. Look at this. I'm already up to 10 fingers, and I don't even have all the skills listed. This is very welcome to me because it's going to give me the ability to quick use these skills, and I love it. We also have the public test realm, and the public test realm sounds absolutely amazing. Obviously, this is going to be a place where your characters do not matter, where the points are made up, and the result is a guess, because none of it is going to be anything that is important until it makes it to the actual live servers. So what you do in the public test realm, this special realm where you can test balance, bug fixes, and other things, it's all about pushing the limits deliberately and then reporting your results, which is a good thing. And NVIDIA DLSS, for those people who would like to enable it, that's probably going to make the graphics a lot prettier. And I thought they already had the miss indicator. I could be wrong, but didn't they already have the miss indicator? I mean, it's already been in the game. I don't really quite understand what this one's about. Not at all. And then them bringing back the throw option and adding the force move command. That's a big brain move there. That is important for those of us who do not use the left click. I feel like these changes are really big, and people might overlook these and be like, they're not really changing a whole lot. But you know what? To me, Player's 8 for consoles, keyboard quick cast and active skill bindings, as well as the ability to rebind your left click with a proper no use ability. All these together equal a really big change in the game. I feel like it's going to feel a lot better. You're going to notice that it just feels a lot better, and that's what's really important. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've already gone on for 20 minutes. I always seem to go on for so long. Feel free to roast me in the comments about it. I know I'm a long-winded person. Thanks for watching, and keep watching.